What's up, Tiger Nation? Steve Leslie, YSNLive.com, your home of the Springfield Tigers all season long on YSN, and proud to be a part of it. Cannot thank everyone here. Tuesday night at the Tigers table. Come on down every Tuesday night as the Tigers prepare to head on over to McDonald for a big football game Friday night. If you can't make it, we'll have it for you on YSNLive.com. Again, cannot thank Melissa and Rob and Tiffany and Debbie and the entire staff here at the Tigers table for all they do for us and for the Springfield Tigers athletics. We had Coach Mattizi on girls hoops. Proud to be joined by Coach Brink and the boys basketball team. Coach, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's hop into this football team. You get a chance to see them every week. I say this to a lot of people, a very talented group, not only on the football field, but guys that you have on the basketball court. Talk about them a little bit.
It's great to watch kids that you work with be successful in other endeavors, and track season was phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they had with some dominant track performances. You had kids just that went to state and were just excellent on that field. Our baseball team, you have some success there as well, and have traditionally had very successful baseball program. But this year with football, you're coming off with Bo's year, and then you had guys last year, and you got a new crew but these guys are tested. They've been through a lot of battles, and when you look at the success they've had, one of the things I go back to is there's a lot of experience. You have a lot of good kids that have worked very hard, put a ton of time in the weight room. They work at their craft. And one thing that's really been impressive, I thought they've run the football extremely well this year and just been dominant up front. And Dante having a tremendous year to see his success. And then he goes down with an injury. Kaysen's been able to step in and just keep things rolling. And Kaysen's another one. When you look at perseverance, I mean, coming off of his ankle was a horrific injury.
Right.
It was ugly. And to see the success he had, I'm really happy for him to be able to get back out there and perform.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a talented football team, the offense and defensive lines. Coach, one of the things that stands out for me, defensively, they seem to get better and better every week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the line's been great. They've been shutting people down. People don't look at the team and say, our first two games were challenging games.
Right.
I mean, and nobody likes to lose, but you're losing to, South Range is a local power. Geneva, you're playing up 3 divisions.
Right.
I mean, those are 2 quality teams. When you look as they got into the league, those games made us better for the league. I look at that as 100%. And you look at what we've done. Sean's had a great year defensively. Guys that I've had, Dylan has been excellent. Some of the kids out there, Hayden, Pavlok, and these guys, they're playing good football. I mean, they're making plays. We got playmakers. Colton's been solid all year. It's been a pleasure to watch. A lot of fun to enjoy and watching those guys play.
You do. You enjoy getting out every Friday night. I want to ask you, because you said something there that I think is the truth. You've coached a long time.
Yeah.
Non-league schedules are important.
For sure.
I mean, I know a lot of coaches that the W's are important, but I think you hit the nail right on the head there, that the non-league schedule, when you play South Range in Geneva,
right,
you're prepared for the rest of your season, and they have been. Now we jump into basketball season. First of all, welcome back to Springfield. No question in my mind. Talk about that a little bit. How has that been to come back to this community?
For me, it's kind of like full circle. I started playing for Coach Daltorio. Coach Klingensmith was one of my coaches. His name's on the court. And Coach Daltorio, is the winningest coach, in history there. And you just look at, it's been for me to come back. And when you're coaching that, especially the first year, when you look in, I coached Mark Brungard was on the staff when I was helping Coach Daltorio. Lisa Wary, Adam's mom, was on my paper route. Right up the street. I delivered their newspaper for years. Her dad used to bust my chops after a game night. I'd go up to the house, deliver the paper. He said, all right, Brink, we got to talk about last night's game. When I was a little kid playing high school basketball, and just that's the kind of town it's like. Here at the Tigers table, my neighbors, the Firestones, were the original owners of the original Tigers table. And it's just something that everyone, people know you. With that comes, though, a lot of expectations. So there's also the pressure of going in. Now, the first year, knowing all the guys, you walk right in. You have their parents all either knew me, played for me. So it wasn't like a huge transition.
Sure.
There was people that came in and they knew what the work ethic was going to be in terms of expectations. They jumped right in. And, I mean, Bo's Bo. I mean, but the guys, Alex Rothwell, Jake Joyce, had phenomenal years for us. And it was just, we ripped off, 21 in a row to start. But going back to what you said earlier, I think one of the keys, our non-league schedule was brutal.
Very good.
Was brutal.
Very good.
And for a D4, where we were 3 that year,
right.
Nobody played that kind
I'll
of
never
schedule.
forget, Coach, the Ursuline Springfield
it's
game at
unbelievable.
your place was one of the best games that just to go watch as a fan. That was a basketball game.
Probably one of the best wins in terms of as a coach to be a part of.
Right.
Because I just looked, I mean, that Ursuline team was stacked.
Yes.
Just a loaded team. And Coach Gunther's a great coach. And they're, a local power.
Right.
And you look at that game, we're down, I think, 14 points in the second half. And then it's Adam Wary and Bo Brungard taking turns, bang, bang, bang. And it was an absolute just joy to watch and exciting basketball. And one thing about Springfield, you've got a basketball tradition over 40, 50 years, and it's something where people appreciate the success. And again, it's high expectations, but very enjoyable. I mean, that year we had Poland, tough game at Poland.
No doubt.
In 1 week, we had to play Poland on the road. You had Ursuline, you had Lowville, and I think there was another one there. We had 4 tough games all within a week, and to rip those all off, I mean, it got us on a roll. And I give credit to the previous, administration and coaches. Coach French loaded up the schedule, knowing he was going to have a really powerful team. And you look at it, even our team last year, our record was very deceptive.
But it was a good schedule.
We had 7. I think we were for the regular season 12-10. 7 or 8 of our losses were to teams that won their division, that won their conference.
Right.
And 8 of our games, non-league games, were D2s and D3s. I mean, you're talking Girard, Ursuline, Poland, South Range. South Range is one of the smaller teams we play, and they're bigger than us. And so the non-league schedule, to go back to your point you made, is definitely something that makes you better in the long run. And I always have said for football, you need to play those kind of games.
You do.
And it's the same thing in hoops. It may not show up on that particular game, and you're going to have some losses. But I go back to like our situation as a D4, we were better prepared for the playoffs, and we jumped into a bracket with Badger, who had Moy, who's one of the best players in Northeast Ohio. He's going to be a great college player, and we felt pretty confident that we had a very good chance to win. And it went down to the buzzer. It was a buzzer beater game, and that's because they had a much better record, but we felt confident that we could play because of our schedule that we played.
With Coach Brink for the Tigers Hoop Squad, Coach, you've done this a long time. I guess my question: what's changed in the game of basketball? What's some of the things that you see change over the years?
Well, the game itself has changed in terms of the three-point line. And going back to when we played, mid-range game was important.
It was huge. Yeah, I'm so glad you said you don't see that too much.
The game is now threes.
And I go college, I'll go NBA.
Absolutely.
You don't see the kick out 12-foot jump shot.
It's a lost art. And to be honest, when you look at analytics, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
But the other thing I think that you'll see in high school basketball is there's not a lot of teams that have back to the basket players.
No.
You don't see a ton of back to the baskets because all the bigs want to handle the ball. Everybody wants to be a point guard. So you want point forwards. They want to be Kevin Garnett. They want to be Durant, and handle the ball. So you're seeing a lot more step out, pick and pop action, a lot of zoom stuff with the handoffs. There's a lot of that. You don't see as much as the old standard, let's pound it in. And when they do pound it in, what I see is they're using it more as we're going to pound it in to kick it out.
Or reverse it.
Absolutely. Agree 100%.
I love that you say that.
Yeah.
You still love doing this, don't you? For as long as
sure.
you have.
I mean,
I could see the energy, the excitement.
There is nothing better than getting into the gym once you get into the season and start getting the juices flowing. And I always go back to you got to kind of evolve with the game too.
Yes.
And some of those things that I did 30 years ago,
probably not.
I don't do them anymore. And I have coaches. I ran a ton of the matchup zone, and I do clinics for it. People call me, "Hey, could you go through your matchup?" Sure. And I go and speak at these clinics, and I'll tell them, I say, "Guys, I'll be honest, I don't run a ton of it anymore." And there's a reason, because so many teams have guys that shoot the crud out of the ball.
It's hard to play anymore.
It's hard. We usually end up doing different things for different opponents. You're going to have a guy that you might be face guarding this guy, and this guy we might have to, sag off, or we're running at this guy and we're doubling this guy on the bounce. So there's a lot of times now where it's not just line up. And I will say that my time at Hudson actually has made me a better coach,
because
I had to coach.
Yes, bigger communities, bigger teams, bigger schools.
Every team you play has D1 athletes.
Yes.
So you say, well, this team is, they're not a basketball powerhouse. Well, they've got 3 D1 athletes. They got a D1 football player. They got a D1 lacrosse kid. They got a D1 soccer kid. And guess what? They got a kid that's got a 42-inch vertical. So everybody's got people that you have to prepare for. And as you take that down the ladder, the difference at a D4, in our case, for D4 basketball, is you don't have the depth.
Right.
You don't have the depth where you're running, in our case, we don't have 15 guys at
Where you can
Hudson.
run in that.
Right now, I told you, all of our guys are playing football. At Hudson, I could have 10, 12 guys playing football, and I could still have 12, 15 guys in the gym for open gym. It's just a different animal when you play at a small school. And the thing that you will learn to appreciate is that kids are successful in multiple sports. And you look at our guys, they're unbelievable, the success they've had in basketball, the success they've had in football, baseball, track, just go down. And for a small school that doesn't have open enrollment, to be able to do that is a pretty amazing feat. To be a year in and year out competitive in a league now, and to be honest, our area is dominated by open enrollment.
Yes,
it's something where there's very few schools left that don't have it, and it's something that's it's more and more difficult when you're fighting that battle.
Well, it's awesome to have you. You had some great times at Hudson, I know that, and obviously to come back home, that's awesome. So patience is a virtue.
Oh, absolutely.
But I love your patience because you're here supporting this every week.
Yeah.
We're obviously going to talk when we get close to the season. I look forward to this, but it's a good league. What are your expectations for this group?
We've got a group of guys that are good core athletes. The league this year, though, is going to be as balanced as you've seen.
That's what I think.
2 years ago, we were by far the best team in the league.
Yes.
Last year, Lowville was the best team in the league. It was going to take somebody to pull off an unbelievable game to upset.
This year seems a little more
balanced.
Out.
I mean, you got Jackson Milton's got a great nucleus. Reserve's got a great nucleus. Ridge got some good young guys coming. Sebring played really well at the end of the year. You go through it. McDonald has a real good junior class coming up. They're all balanced. You've got Kings Waterloo's JV team was the best JV team in the league. They were very good. I mean, so there's not a team that's going to probably go. You're not going to have a team go 14-0.
No.
So this is going to be one of those years where you're going to see people beating each other. It's going to come down to consistency. I will tell you this, though, being a team that's a heavy football school, we'll be better in January and February than we are in December.
Right.
And it's no different any other year. When you have a heavy football team, you're coming out of the gate, it's much more difficult, but that's part of what makes it special. The journey along the road is what makes it special. And I always tell guys, we go back to you can't take anything out of the bank unless you made a deposit.
Right.
You got to put something, you got to invest. So those guys that have invested into the weight room, the guys that have invested into working on their game, they're going to get something out. They're going to get something out of it. So hopefully our guys grow together as a group. We've got, as I said, a great nucleus of guys. They're all out here. Yeah. And it's been a blast watching them, watching Dylan, scoring touchdowns and Dante running through people, Colts firing TD passes, with Sean, all these guys, they're all involved. And every game it's a different guy. So you go through and say that our line's been efficient. And I want to show you a little quick shout out because I don't think the O-line and the D-line have gotten enough credit.
No.
And it's always
sports today,
because all we talk about are the skill guys.
I love that you say that.
O-line deserves some love.
Yeah, we're going to
give them O-line and a little bit of love.
There you go. And Velasco.
They never get the love. Everybody wants to talk about the skill guys. You ask the linemen, they don't even know their numbers because people don't.
They just know the guys are running the ball and I'm supposed to do my job. Coach, thanks for joining us. I look forward to talking to you many times this season. You're one of the good things that I love coming here.
I appreciate it.
You have to love seeing this every Tuesday week.
I'll be honest, it's being a Springfield guy, it is just an absolute joy every week to not only watch these guys, to go watch the volleyball team, to go watch, our soccer team, to get back home and see people that you grew up with, and that's their kids now.
And now that's even better yet.
And you got people that I'm like looking at, it's like, this is awesome. It's a dream come true.
Well, Coach,
thank you.
Best of luck. Thanks. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
All righty.